or some other sort of strange bending of reality, I, at times, and I have them, will question. I don't think I'm going crazy, but I'm still questioning, did that really happen? You know, remote viewing, spontaneous remote viewing. I wish I had a little portion in this talk to get into that, something that I'm working on now. But even things like that, precognition, you question it. So do you think you're going crazy? That's pain point. Do you have a fear of the experience itself? This is also a point of contention when it comes to research on the contact phenomenon, because there's so many who feel that the entities are bad or the entities are good. Their intentions are bad or good. For those that feel it's a bad or hellish thing, there will tend to be a fear that's associated with that. I have always said, and will continue to say, there's a spectrum, but that's a pain point. And so there you go. Now, I'm going to stop right here. Michael, I don't know if we can toggle back and forth so I can see the audience, but I would like to pose to you, how many of you would say you're feeling at least one of these aspects or more? I would love to see a show of hands even. Okay, unfortunately, okay. Yeah, not surprising. Now, if there's anybody who feels so inclined to want to unmute, I'll take maybe one for this because I know we have to keep it moving. That could maybe talk a minute, not even a minute, just a comment about what they may be feeling. I'm going to let whoever unmutes.
Can you guys hear me?
Sure, I can.
Hi.
Hi there.
So I'm Astrid. So I've had those experiences before exiting when I was like younger. I actually tried to do it, but failed twice. But recently you do have those feelings, you know, because life always happens and the emotions always come in. Mm-hmm. But lately I haven't felt to exit, but yeah, sometimes you just want to leave, like you want someone to take you away, not necessarily exit anymore, because now I understand that before wasn't who I was. It wasn't really my thoughts. It was just, I didn't understand my emotions because I was young. Right. Especially when you're 13, you're feeling all these feelings, understanding life, who you are. You're at school. So it was a lot for me as well. Okay. All right. Do you still feel, even revisiting those emotions from before, do you still feel a sense of pain? Yes. You do. Okay. That's important. Okay. That's great. So, go ahead. Yes. I've noticed that when I've healed, I thought I've healed a part of it, but then I noticed there's more parts of my past that keep reoccurring. Like I'll randomly out of nowhere think about something in my past because I did something and I got triggered. I'm like, oh my God, this is where it started and where it came from. Mm-hmm. So then I heal it because I'm trying to do more healing because I understand that the more you heal, the more you learn about yourself. Okay, this is perfect. I'm going to stop you there. Thank you for helping me segue to our next exercise. We're going to do an exercise right now, actually. Thank you so much for you're welcome. Feeling that you can share with us. We're family, we're family here. So, okay. Well, let me go back. Okay, listen, here's what I want us all to do. I want us to take a moment. And when I say a moment, I'm going to say roughly 60 seconds. I'm going to assume for those of you that don't feel any pain, you can just kind of listen along or just kind of be silent for a moment. But those of you like this young woman who just shared with us, I want you to close your eyes, recall wherever that pain point is for you, and I want you to feel it as intensely as you possibly can. Don't shun it. I want you to feel it. It may be a little tough, but I want you to go there. I want you to feel it. I'm going to be quiet for a moment. Close your eyes. Feel it as intensely as you can. Okay. Now, it's right there in
your center and your energy center. I want you to bless the pain. This is not a foreign concept, by the way, this idea of blessing the pain. Well, you know what? I'm not going to talk. I want you to, however you need to do it. Bless the pain and send it on its way. Don't shut it. Don't shut it out. I want you to bless it. Okay. Okay. I'm going to assume that that's what you have done. Look, this is a lot of what I'm sharing with you is not original. There are so many doctrines, wisdom traditions that have had some semblance of this process before. I won't go into all of that, but even without me knowing a lot about that, it made sense to me. Here's why. I want to talk about pain for a minute. There's this concept called panpsychism. Panpsychism is this. It's very contentious because within mainstream, it's controversial because it's alluding to the fact that all things, whether animate or inanimate, physical or non-physical, have their own measure of individuated consciousness. And so within that realm of what we call panpsychism, that would include pain. Pain is conscious. It may have its own level of consciousness. And that's why when you speak to it, it has the opportunity to behave. I want to draw another analogy that may be even closer to truth than just an analogy. For those who have looked into, and I know Anthony Peake may have touched on this in his talk today, this idea of archonic energy or malevolent energy entities who will invade space that are clearly looking to evoke fear in the victim. Well, I'm not going to say victim. I don't like that word. Witness, the observer, the experiencer. It has been said, and it makes sense to me, that the fear that is generated has its own measure of sustenance. It becomes food for whatever it is that is causing the fear. That's a fascinating concept to me because it may be more than just more than a metaphor. There could actually be, there's a form of adrenaline. We can get into that some entities may actually need to sustain their presence in this space, on this frequency. Okay, what I'm saying is if we equated that entity to the pain, again, that pain may be asking you to have fear over it, not fear over it, fear from it. And so by blessing it with righteous indignation, I might add, you send it on its way. I've spent a lot of time on that, but I think that's very important. Does that make sense? Show of hands. It's so important for me to get feedback from y'all. If it makes sense, raise your hand. I see a couple of hands that have, yeah, okay. All right, good. This is not a one-off, guys, because if the pain has shown up, it'll likely show up again. Please, every time you may even feel it coming on, feel it. Don't tell it go away, tell it to come on in. Bless it, send it on its way. Okay, let me move on. We've already talked about the pain is conscious. Now, I want you to hear from some folks that I know, some that you may know as well. They're all very, very special to me. I'm lucky to work with them. Who you're going to be hearing from is Dr. Reverend Michael J.S. Carter. You may know that face. He's been a regular on Ancient Aliens for a long time. He is a pastor and has written extensively about aliens in the Bible, and that's how he's been featured, I think, so much on Ancient Aliens. However, he is an experiencer, and speaking of the pain quotient, he's gone through a lot. He's been very candid. He's been on my show quite a few times and has been very courageous to address this publicly and also to try and lend some advice, which he's going to do shortly, on how he's dealt with it. We're also going to hear from a woman named Susan Manowitz. She's a dear friend. She's been an experiencer lifelong, and she is really, really well read in the what you would call emotional intelligence. She's going to speak to that a little bit. Also, lifelong experiencer, I think I said. So we'll hear from her. We're going to hear from Mindy Totfast. Mindy, interestingly, she's an experiencer, but her experience is was prompted by a near-death experience. And so she's had a